If we're being completely honest, there will never be another player like Wilt Chamberlain. Although he was over 7 feet and weighed close to 300 pounds, his athletic ability was otherworldly. He was incredibly strong, but he was also extremely fast for someone his size, only needing a few strides to cover the length of the court. If you got the ball anywhere within 5 feet of the basket, it was a guaranteed 2 points. If you kept him away from the basket, he would just shoot a turnaround jumper. If you sent multiple guys at him, he was able to pass out of double teams with precision. He's an all-time leading rebounder, and if blocks were counted when he was playing, he would be at the top of that leaderboard too. One of the least talked about aspects of his game was his stamina, as he averaged the most minutes per game in NBA history. All in all, Wilt owned 72 NBA records, as he basically dominated everyone he stepped on the court against. Well, everyone except Bill Russell, as he won 8 of their 9 playoff matchups, leading to Wilt getting a reputation as a loser in the big moments, only being concerned with his personal stats. Wilt dominated so much that people seem to minimize his accomplishments due to the supposed lower level of competition he was playing. He unfairly gets judged for the era he grew up in, but Wilt would have put up the same numbers in 2025. So today's video will take a deeper look at the career of one of the best players of all time. Welcome to PG Hoops, and let's get down to it. Wilt was born on August 21st, 1936 in Philadelphia, as the 6th of 9 children. Wilt's first competitive sport was track, but he was already tall, standing 6 feet at just 10 years old. He wasn't interested in basketball to begin with, as he once called it a game for sissies, but once he realized that basketball was king in Philly, he decided to start playing in the 7th grade. Wilt was 6'11" as a freshman at Overbrook High School. He still ran track and was amazing at it, boasting a 6'6" high jump and a 22-foot long jump. Once Wilt touched the basketball court, he was unguardable, averaging 31 points a game as a sophomore. Overbrook made it to the city championship game against West Catholic High, as Wilt dropped 29 points despite being quadruple teamed the entire game. Overbrook lost 54-42. Wilt led Overbrook to an undefeated season in the city championship as a junior, dropping a then high school record of 71 points against Roxborough. During the summer, he worked as a bellhop at Kutcher's Hotel. Wilt would play in the summer league there, where he was noticed by Red Auerbach. He had Wilt go up against Kansas standout B.H. Bourne, who recently led the Jayhawks to a national title and was named the tournament's most outstanding player. Wilt beat him 25-10, as B.H. was so dejected about the loss that he quit basketball entirely and went into tractor engineering. Red wanted Wilt to attend a New England college so the Celtics could select him with a territorial pick, but Wilt ignored his request. As a senior, he really put himself on the national radar, dropping 74, 78, and 90 points in 3 consecutive games. Overbrook only lost 1 game this year, but they won the city championship again, as Wilt was the first Mr. Basketball USA. He was recruited by over 200 colleges, with UCLA promising to make him a movie star, while the University of Penn offered to buy him diamonds, also promising his high school coach a position on the staff if Wilt committed. But he wanted to experience life away from home, so East Coast schools were ruled out. He didn't want to play in the South due to segregation, and he felt like West Coast basketball was of lower quality, so he decided to play in the Midwest, committing to the University of Kansas. While in college, Wilt continued to excel in track and field. He ran the 100-yard dash in 10.9 seconds, shot put at 56 feet, triple jumped more than 50 feet, and won the conference championship in the high jump 3 years in a row. Once he stepped on the court for his freshman team debut, he destroyed the older players, dropping 42 points, 29 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Once he was eligible to play varsity, Falk Allen stepped down as the coach, as Wilt didn't have the best relationship with the new coach, Dick Harp. Going into his sophomore season, Wilt was by far the best player on the team, and his interior presence really helped on the defensive end, as the Jayhawks allowed the 6th fewest points in the nation. They won their first 12 games before suffering their first loss to Iowa State. They lost another game to Oklahoma State, as with this being the pre-shot clock era, the Sooners got the lead with 3 minutes left and just held the ball for the rest of the game. Kansas finished with a 21-2 record, winning the Big 7 regular season crown. Wilt was constantly seeing double and triple teams on a nightly basis, but he still averaged 30 points and 19 rebounds, being named a first-team All-American. Kansas faced SMU in their first tournament game. Segregation was still alive and well, so the crowd was very unpleasant to the few black players on the team, spitting on them, throwing debris, and hurling several racial slurs. Wilt dropped 36 points and 22 rebounds in an overtime win, as the hostile crowd led to the Jayhawks being escorted out by the police. He put up 30 and 15 in a blowout over Oklahoma City. The Final Four against San Francisco wasn't really a challenge, as Wilt put up 32 and 11 with 7 blocks and another blowout, as the lead was so big that he sat the final 3 minutes of the game. Kansas met North Carolina in the national championship game, but they would lose by 1 point in triple overtime, as Wilt was called for a foul on a blocked shot. allowing the Tar Heels to shoot the game-winning free throws. Wilt dropped 23 and 14 in the loss, as he was named the tournament's most outstanding player. Wilt's junior season was very frustrating for him, as opponents used a lot of different tactics to stop him, often holding the ball for long periods of time or consistently triple teaming him. Teammate Bob Billings commented, "It wasn't fun. We were just chasing people throwing the basketball back and forth." Wilt missed 3 games with a urinary infection, all losses for Kansas. They finished 8-4 in the Big 8, second to Kansas State, so there was no tournament for the Jayhawks. Wilt was a first-team All-American again, averaging 30 points and 17.5 rebounds. Wilt's dominance inspired several rule changes, including the requirement for a shooter to keep both feet behind the line during a free throw attempt. Wilt had a 50-inch vertical, as he could dunk the ball from the line with a one-step gather. An inbounds pass over the backboard was banned because of him as well. Offensive goaltending or basket interference was introduced as a rule in 1956 after Bill Russell exploited it at San Francisco. Wilt had lost interest in college ball after his junior year and he wanted to get paid. However, the NBA only drafted players that completed all their college eligibility, which led to him signing with the Harlem Globetrotters in 1958 for $50,000. One famous stunt involved him throwing a 200-pound Meadowlark lemon in the air and catching him, as Lemon called him the strongest athlete that ever lived. Wilt was eligible for the 1959 draft, being picked 3rd overall by the Philadelphia Warriors behind Bob Boozer and Bailey Howell. He joined a solid squad with Tom Gola, Guy Rogers, and Paul Arizin. When he signed his rookie contract for $30,000, he became the league's highest paid player, and he clearly deserved it, dropping 43 points and 28 rebounds in his NBA debut. He was putting up video game numbers to start his career, as out of all the insane stat lines that he put up this year, his best performance was on January 25th against Detroit, with 58 points and 42 rebounds. Wilt had the greatest rookie season in NBA history, leading the league in points and rebounds by a wide margin, becoming the first player ever to win the Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season. He finished second in defensive win shares, so he was one of the best rim protectors as well. Tom led the league in triple doubles, while Paul was a top 10 scorer, as the Warriors finished 49 and 26. Wilt's legendary rookie season saw him average 38 points, 27 rebounds, and 2.5 assists, as the Warriors took on the Nationals in the semifinals. Wilt put up his usual numbers, but his efficiency was down as the team split the first 2 games. He turned it up in Game 3, dropping 53 points and 22 rebounds to help the Warriors take the series. The division final matchup against the Celtics was Wilt's first playoff duel with Bill Russell. Red Auerbach ordered Tom Heinsohn to foul Wilt on purpose, since he was a terrible free throw shooter. When a different Warrior was at the foul line, Tom would grab and shove him so he couldn't get back on defense quick enough to stop the Celtics' deadly fast break attack. They employed the strategy until Game 3, when Wilt got tired of Tom, punching him in the face. Unfortunately, he hurt his hand and Philly lost the next 2 games. Facing elimination, Wilt dropped 50 points and 35 rebounds to force a Game 6. But they would lose the series in a heartbreaking fashion, as Tom Heinsohn made a game-winning tip-in to send the Celtics to the finals. In the offseason, Wilt was hinting at retirement already, as he was tired of being double and triple teamed. He also hated when teams committed hard fouls on him, as he feared he might lose his temper one day. However, the Warriors coaxed him to come back by doubling his salary. The Warriors drafted Al Attles as point guard depth in 1960, but Wilt continued to break records, dropping 42 points and 31 rebounds in the season opener. On November 24th against Boston, he dropped 34 points and grabbed 55 rebounds, a record that still stands today. He was still an efficient scorer, even with his high volume of shots, leading the league in field goal percentage for the first time. On March 9th against the Knicks, he put up a then career high 67 points along with 31 rebounds. Along with his 8 50-point games, he had 23 games with at least 30 rebounds and 6 games with at least 5 assists. He somehow performed better than his rookie season, scoring 32% of his team's points and grabbing 30% of their rebounds, yet he was 4th in MVP voting. He set the all-time record for rebounds in the season, while Paul and Tom were all-stars again. Philly finished with a 46 and 33 record, as Wilt averaged 38 points, 27 rebounds, and 2 assists. They faced the Nationals again in the semifinals, but their lack of depth would be exposed in this series. Wilt averaged 37 points and 23 rebounds, but Syracuse was able to key in on him, so he only shot 46% from the field. His teammates let him down, as Al Attles was the only other player that shot over 37%. The Warriors kept the games close, but they were swept. In 1961, the Warriors swapped Neil Johnson out for Frank McGuire, the same coach that beat Wilt in the national championship game when he was the head man in North Carolina. After an embarrassing playoff exit last year, Wilt came into this year more motivated than ever, as he would have the best individual season in NBA history. In December, he averaged 52 points and 27 rebounds on 50% shooting, dropping 3 60-point games, including a gargantuan performance on the 8th, with 78 points and 43 rebounds. On January 13th against the Packers, he dropped 73 points and 36 rebounds. All these games were simply amazing, but nothing would top what he did on March 2nd against the Knicks. He dropped the all-time record of 100 points along with 25 rebounds, shooting 28 of 32 from the foul line. Wilt scored over 4,000 points this season, a record that will never be broken. He carried the team to a 49-31 record, averaging 50 points, 26 rebounds, and 2.5 assists. They met Syracuse again in the semifinals as this series went to a Game 5. Wilt dropped 56 points and 35 rebounds to help Philly advance, giving them another chance at Boston. This highly contested series saw each team win their home games. In Game 7, Wilt tied it at 107 with 16 seconds left, but Sam Jones had a clutch jumper with 2 seconds left on the clock, securing the series win for Boston. 1962 would be a year of change for the team. Ed Gottlieb sold the team to a San Francisco group of businessmen, with the team being renamed the San Francisco Warriors. But their roster would be a lot different, as Paul Arizin retired as he didn't want to leave his family or his job at IBM in Philly. Frank McGuire resigned instead of moving to the West Coast, while Tom Gola got homesick and requested a trade mid-season. Wilt was somehow averaging better numbers in his last season to start, but the Warriors' lack of depth was obvious, as they were 8-12 in the first 20 games. Wilt had 9 games with at least 60 points, 15 games with at least 30 rebounds, and 3 triple-doubles, but he was a second-team All-NBA member this year. Guy Rodgers led the league in assists, while Tom Meshry was an All-Star as well. Even with Wilt in the middle, the Warriors still gave up the most points in the league, so they finished with a lackluster 31-49 record, missing the playoffs for the first time in 4 years. Wilt averaged 45 points, 24 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. The Warriors finally got a capable backup for Wilt in 1963, drafting Nate Thurman from Bowling Green. They also hired former player Alex Hannum as the new coach, and he wasn't afraid to stand up to Wilt, earning his respect. There was a clear change in Wilt's playstyle under Hannum, as he wasn't looking to score as much, getting his teammates involved a lot more. Although he still put up his points and owned the boards, he was averaging 5 assists a game to start the season. On December 18th against St. Louis, he dropped 27 points, 27 rebounds, and 11 assists, followed by 40 points, 23 rebounds, and 12 assists 2 games later. Apart from his usual stats, Wilt ranked 6th in assists, 2nd in triple-doubles, and 2nd in defensive win shares, but this was the first year of his career that he didn't lead the league in rebounding, as Bill Russell claimed the top spot. San Francisco was a more balanced team as 5 other players averaged double figures, and they improved their win total, finishing with a 48-32 record, giving them a first-round bye. Wilt averaged 37 points, 22 rebounds, and 5 assists as the Warriors faced the Hawks in the division finals. The team split the first 4 games, but Wilt averaged 41 points, 23 rebounds, and 5 assists over the last 3 to get back to the NBA Finals, facing who else but Boston. Wilt's supporting squad would let him down again, as Tom Meshry was the only other Warrior to shoot over 34%, as Boston easily beat the Warriors in 5 games. Due to Wilt being such a mismatch in the paint, the NBA widened the lane from 12 to 16 feet in 1964. But the Warriors had a bad start to the season and were going through a lot of financial problems. In a desperate move, Wilt was traded to the new Philadelphia Sixers, who had relocated from Syracuse. When he left the team, Warriors owner Frank Maioli said, "Chamberlain is not an easy man to love. The fans in San Francisco never learned to love him. Wilt is easy to hate. People came to see him lose." The Sixers were coached by Dolph Schayes, someone Wilt really didn't like, as he felt that he said some disrespectful things to him while they were rivals on the court. Philly was the most well-rounded team he had been on so far, but initially, there was tension in the locker room, as Hal Gurr had been the leader of the team before Wilt came along. Also, his arrival forced Luke Jackson to play power forward, but eventually all 3 of these guys got along. The Sixers were 22-23 when Wilt got there, but they finished the regular season at 40-40, as between the 2 teams, Wilt averaged 35 points, 23 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. Philly faced off against the Big O and the Royals in the semifinals. Wilt dropped 30 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists in Game 2, but the Sixers lost. He shot 6 for 19 in Game 3, but Philly still won. He redeemed himself in Game 4 with 38 points, 26 rebounds, and 5 assists to advance, facing the usual opponent in the division finals. The teams would split the first 6 games, but Philly would choke away Game 7 in embarrassing fashion. Wilt scored 4 points in the last minute, cutting Boston's lead to 1 with 5 seconds left. Bill Russell whiffed on the inbounds pass as it sailed out of bounds, giving Philly a chance to win, but Dolph Schayes didn't want Wilt to get the ball, since the Celtics would intentionally foul him. The plan was to get Chet Walker free for an open shot, but when Howell threw the inbounds pass, it was stolen by John Havlicek, as Wilt was now 0-5 against Bill Russell in the playoffs. At this point in his career, he had put up all the great stats, but he now had a loser label attached to him. It also didn't help when he publicly criticized his teammates and coaches in an interview with Sports Illustrated. In 1965, Ike Richmond died of a heart attack. He was a co-owner of the Sixers, but he was also Wilt's personal attorney. His commitment to the team was in question as he was a late sleeper and he lived in New York City, preferring to commute to Philadelphia rather than live there, and he was only available for training in the afternoon. Because Shays didn't want to anger his best player, he moved the daily workout to 4 p.m. This annoyed the rest of the team, who preferred an early schedule that allowed them the afternoon off, but Shays dismissed their protests. Irv Kozlov, who now solely owned the Sixers, could never convince Wilt to move to Philadelphia during the season. On the court, he was scoring a lot less and passing a lot more, as rookie Billy Cunningham turned out to be a solid addition. He was still elite on defense, as he even dislocated Gus Johnson's shoulder when he blocked his dunk attempt. Wilt dropped 9 triple-doubles as he led the league in scoring for the 7th year in a row, winning his 2nd MVP award. The Sixers finished 55-25, as Wilt averaged 34 points, 25 rebounds, and 5 assists. The Sixers faced Boston yet again in the division finals, but they finally had home court advantage. Wilt did his usual thing in the first 2 games, but his teammates shot under 40% as the Celtics went up 2-0. He dropped 31-27 in a Game 3 win, but he told the coach that he was too tired to attend a joint practice the next day. Boston won Game 4 to go up 3-1, as Wilt skipped practice again prior to Game 5, as his teammates saw right through the coach's excuses for him. Wilt dropped 46-34 in Game 5, but Boston won this game and the series, as even though Wilt was the only real performer for Philly, he set a bad example with his unprofessional behavior. The Sixers fired Shays in 1966, replacing him with the more assertive Alex Hannum, as he and Wilt almost fought on several occasions, but he was able to convince him to focus more on defense instead of scoring. Wilt had the lowest scoring average of his career up to this point, but he was taking smarter shots while showcasing his passing skills, dropping 22 triple-doubles. The Sixers were the most dominant team in the league by far, as they won 46 of their first 50 games. The month of February was really good to Wilt, as he averaged 29 points, 26 rebounds, and 9 assists on 72% shooting. Speaking of efficiency, Wilt had 6 games where he didn't miss a shot, as on February 24th against Baltimore, he dropped 42 points, 30 rebounds, and 10 assists, all while shooting 18 of 18 from the field. Wilt won the 2nd straight MVP, as Hal and Chet were all-stars, and Billy averaged 19 points off the bench. The Sixers finished with a 68-13 record, as Wilt averaged 24 points, 24 rebounds, and 8 assists, on a then NBA record 68% shooting. The formerly egotistical Wilt began to praise his teammates publicly, while also footing the bill when they all went out to eat. Philly faced the Royals in the semifinals, but Wilt averaged a triple-double as Philly easily won in 4. All roads to the finals went through Boston, but this year would be different. Wilt had an unofficial quadruple-double in Game 1, with 24 points, 32 rebounds, 13 assists, and 12 blocks. He dropped 20 points, 41 rebounds, and 9 assists in Game 3 to go up 3-0. Boston prevented the sweep by winning Game 4, but Wilt put up 29 points, 36 rebounds, and 13 assists in the blowout Game 5 win, as this ended the Celtics' 8-year championship streak. The Sixers faced the San Francisco Warriors in the finals, led by Rick Barry and Wilt's former teammate Nate Thurmond. Wilt took a lot less shots in the finals, as he was more concerned with defense setting up his teammates. A last-second defensive stand in Game 6 sealed the Sixers' win. A last-second defensive stand in Game 6 sealed the game, as after 8 years, Wilt could finally call himself a champion. Even though he had just won a title, his relationship with Kozlov was still rocky. In 1965, Wilt said that he and Richmond had worked out a deal that would give him 25% of the franchise once he retired. Although this was a handshake agreement, Dolph Shays and Sixers lawyer Alan Levitt backed up his claims. However, Kozlov denied the request, angering Wilt to the point where he was willing to move to the ABA once his contract ended in 1967. The two sides worked out a truce, and Wilt later signed a 1-year, $250,000 contract. Wilt completely changed his game as he became more of a playmaker from the low post, as from January 25th to the end of the season, he averaged a triple-double while shooting 64% from the field. On February 2nd against Detroit, he dropped 22 points, 25 rebounds, and 21 assists. On March 18th against the Lakers, he dropped an unofficial quintuple-double with 53 points, 32 rebounds, 14 assists, 24 blocks, and 11 steals. Wilt made NBA history again, being the first center to lead the league in total assists and also the first player to score over 25,000 career points, as he won his 3rd straight MVP. The Sixers continued to be a dominant team, finishing 62-20, as Wilt averaged 24 points, 24 rebounds, and 9 assists. Philly faced the Knicks in the semifinals, and although most of their stars were dealing with injuries, they got past them in 6 games. They met the Celtics in the division finals, but on the day before Game 1 was set to start, Martin Luther King was assassinated. With 8 out of the 10 starters of both teams being black, the shock of this event almost led to the series being canceled. But the games went on and Philly was up 3-1, as Wilt was consistently being guarded by backup center Wayne Embry, so the press began to speculate that Russell was worn down. But the Celtics would storm back and be the first team to come back from a 3-1 deficit to win, as in Game 7, Wilt didn't take a shot the entire second half, and they lost this game at home. Alex Hannon wanted to be closer to his family on the West Coast, so he left to coach the Oakland Oaks in the ABA. Wilt requested a trade, and he was sent to the Lakers for Daryl Imhoff, Archie Clark, and Jerry Chambers. The reasons behind this trade are still a mystery, as possibly Wilt was still angry about the ownership deal falling through. Sixers GM Jack Ramsey said that Wilt threatened to leave for the ABA, therefore forcing a trade. There's another speculation that Wilt felt that he had grown too big for Philadelphia and wanted to be amongst the celebrities in LA. When Wilt got to the Lakers, owner Jack Cook gave him the biggest contract in league history at the time, paying him $250,000 after taxes. Chamberlain wasn't a natural leader or a loyal follower, which made it difficult for him to fit in with the veterans the Lakers already had. While he was on cordial terms with Jerry, he often argued with Elgin Baylor. After losing Archie in the trade and Gail Goodrich to the expansion draft, Coach Butch Van Bredekoff was concerned with the lack of speed and guard depth on the team. As you might expect, he and Wilt didn't see eye to eye, as he even benched him on a couple occasions. His best performance came on February 9th against the Suns, with 66 points, 27 rebounds, and 4 assists on 29 of 35 from the field. But this would be the first time in his career where Wilt didn't lead the team in scoring. He was still in the top 20 for assists and 6 in defensive win shares, as the Lakers finished 55 and 27. Wilt had a down season by his standards, averaging 21 points, 21 rebounds, and 4.5 assists. The Lakers didn't have much difficulty with the Warriors or the Hawks in the first 2 rounds, but Wilt wasn't really scoring like he used to. They met the Celtics in the finals, as Bill Russell was now a player coach. Wilt was neutralized in this series, dropping single digits 3 times, including just 8 points in Game 6 with the Lakers up 3-2 in the series. Wilt was up to 18 points and 27 rebounds on 7 of 8 shooting in Game 7, but he twisted his knee coming down from a rebound, so Mel Counts had to replace him. Wilt remained on the bench for the last 6 minutes of the game, as a lot of people, including Bill, were not convinced that Wilt was really hurt. The Lakers ended up losing this game by 2, as Jerry West was the only ever Finals MVP on a losing team. 1969 was a rookie year for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a player that Wilt had mentored as a teen, but their relationship would sour over time for multiple reasons. Wilt publicly denounced the Black Panther Party and twice endorsed Richard Nixon, which annoyed Kareem. When he eventually broke Wilt's scoring record in 1984, Wilt publicly criticized his game and called for him to retire. But at this point in time, they were just rivals on the court. The Lakers hired Joe Mulaney to be their new head coach, as they added Willie McCarter and Rick Roberson in the draft. Wilt was averaging 32 and 20 through the first 9 games, but on November 7th, he went down with a knee injury, as it was diagnosed as a torn patellar tendon in his right knee. He wouldn't come back until March, ending the season with 21 points, 18 rebounds, and 8 assists against the Sonics. Elgin and Happy Harrison struggled with injuries as well, but Jerry picked up the slack, leading the league in scoring, as the Lakers finished 46 and 36. In his shortened season, Wilt averaged 27 points, 18 rebounds, and 4 assists. The Lakers faced Gail Goodrich, Connie Hawkins, and the Suns in the semifinals. Wilt was still working his way back from his injury, but the Lakers were down 3-1. They rallied back into the series, as Wilt dropped 30 points, 27 rebounds, and 6 assists in Game 7 to help the Lakers advance. They easily swept the Hawks in the division finals, but they faced the upstart Knicks in the NBA finals. Wilt lost a lot of his lateral quickness, so he had a hard time defending Willis Reed in the high post. Willis dropped 37 points in a Game 1 win for the Knicks, but Wilt blocked his last-second shot to see the Lakers' Game 2 win. In Game 3, the Lakers were down 3 with mere seconds to go, but Jerry West did the impossible.
Lakers trying to pressure the inbounds pass, and it comes into Walt Frazier with 10 seconds now showing on the clock. 8 seconds left to go on the clock. 7, 6, 5. DeBusschere shoots. Hit with 3 seconds to go. 2 seconds, 1 second. West throws it up. He makes it. West threw it up and makes it. Over half court. The ball game is tied. Jerry West made it from the other side of the midcourt stripe.
Despite this amazing buzzer beater, the Lakers lost in overtime. Wilt dropped a solid 18 points, 25 rebounds, and 7 assists in Game 4 to tie the series. Willis Reed pulled his quad in Game 5, and he seemed to be out for the series. You would think that Wilt would easily get his against the Knicks' backup big men, but he only shot 3 times in the second half, as the Lakers squandered their 13-point halftime lead to lose Game 5. Wilt turned back the clock in Game 6, dropping 45 points and 27 rebounds as the Lakers tied the series, forcing the Game 7 at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks looked doomed without their center, but lo and behold, the first 4 points of the game, and this inspired his teammates, as the Knicks led by 27 at halftime. Wilt suffered another loss in the finals. Since Elgin was aging, the Lakers drafted Jim McMillan from Columbia. This addition came in handy as Elgin tore his Achilles early in the season, essentially ending his career. Wilt wasn't as productive offensively as he used to be, but he was still an elite rebounder and he was passing and defending well. He dropped a season-high 41 points and 23 rebounds on January 5th against the Royals. He had 14 games with at least 30 points, 31 games with at least 20 rebounds, and 2 games with double-digit assists. The Lakers were sitting at 45-26 on March 2nd when Jerry went down with a knee injury as he would be sidelined right before the playoffs. They struggled to end the season, but the 48-34 record was still enough for a division crown, as Wilt averaged 21 points, 18 rebounds, and 4.5 assists. The Lakers faced a tough Chicago Bulls squad in the semifinals, as the Lakers' injuries allowed the Bulls to key in on Wilt. He shot an unusually low 42% for the series, but he saved his best for last, dropping 25 points, 19 rebounds, and 9 assists in Game 7 to help the Lakers advance. The division final matchup against the Bucks pitted Wilt against his young protege Kareem, as this was a highly anticipated series. Wilt put up his usual stats, but the Bucks won the first 2 games. He dropped 24 points and 24 rebounds in a Game 3 win, but this would be their only win of the series, as the Bucks blew them out in the next 2 games to advance to the finals. Bill Sharman was the new Lakers coach in 1971, and he transformed Wilt into a more defensive-minded player, as he wasn't asked to be the main scorer for the first time in his career. The Lakers added more guards with less injury history, drafting Jim Clemens and trading for Flynn Robinson. Wilt was averaging career-low numbers in the first 2 weeks, but on solid efficiency. The Lakers would make NBA history, going from November 5th to January 7th without a loss, setting an all-time record with 33 wins in a row. The players were expecting their owner Jack Cook to reward them for their performance, and he did, giving them each a $5 pen set. Wilt had everyone throw their pens in the middle of the floor and step on them. Ironically, the Bucks would break the streak. Jim McMillan had a much improved season, while Gale averaged 26 points a game, as the Lakers finished with a then NBA record 69 wins. Wilt led the league in field goal percentage again, averaging 15 points, 19 rebounds, and 4 assists. The Lakers easily swept the Bulls in the semifinals, as Milwaukee awaited them in the division finals. But this year would be different, as Wilt led a 10-point comeback in the fourth quarter of Game 6 to help the Lakers get past Milwaukee, beating the Knicks again in the finals. But Willis Reed was out with a knee injury, as the undersized Jerry Lucas had to guard Wilt. But the Knicks couldn't miss in Game 1, shooting 54% to strike first. Wilt carried his team, averaging 21 points and 24 rebounds on 63% shooting over the rest of the series. Even though he broke his hand in Game 4, he dropped 24 points and 29 rebounds in the closeout Game 5, winning his second championship and his first Finals MVP. The Lakers were a much different team in 1972, as Happy Harrison and Jerry struggled with injuries, while Leroy Ellis and Flynn left. Wilt was even less of a scorer this year, as he only dropped 20 once in the first 10 games, but he never wasted a shot opportunity when he got one, as he had 17 games without a miss. He shot a still-standing NBA record 73% from the field, as he led the league in rebounding for the 11th time. Even with their stars getting old, the Lakers were still an elite team, finishing atop the division at 60-22. Wilt averaged 13 points, 19 rebounds, and 4.5 assists, as the Lakers faced the Bulls again in the semifinals. The team split the first 2 games, as Wilt was a non-factor offensively. The Bulls took it all the way to Game 7, but Wilt finally woke up, dropping 21 points, 28 rebounds, and 4 assists to help the Lakers advance. Wilt only averaged 7 points in the division finals against Golden State, but he controlled the boards as LA easily went in 5. They met the Knicks yet again in the finals, but they were fully healthy this time. The Lakers won Game 1 behind 12 points, 20 rebounds, and 6 assists from Wilt, but Jerry would re-aggravate his sore hamstring, and this would be their only win, as New York won the next 4 games to win the title. Wilt would finally take his talent to the ABA in 1973, as the San Diego Conquistadors hired him as a player coach for $600,000.
I thought about this a great deal. If I am going to play, I'm not going to play, like 48 minutes or 40 minutes. I'm going to try to play 24, 25 minutes. I have 2 good centers right now. I have a great deal of confidence, and I really think Caldwell Jones is going to be a great center. I think he has the potential to be so. I want to have a chance to work with him as much as possible and give him a chance to play as much as possible. If I'm playing, they can play forward and center, and I'm going to try to play about 24, 25 minutes a game unless it's needed to be for more. And of course, it's going to be a strain being playing and coaching, but I think I have a really capable assistant, and really, he's done a great job with him so far. He has him in great shape and has him doing a lot of good things, and so I think that he'll be able to do a lot for me on the bench.
Wilt left the Lakers partly because after he won the title in 1972, he wanted to renegotiate the 2-year deal he signed before the season, but the Lakers essentially ghosted him as they were trying to get Bill Walton to play for them, but he ultimately decided to return to school. The Lakers sued Wilt, preventing him from playing in San Diego since he still owed the option year on his contract. On the opening day of the 1973 ABA season, a judge declared that Wilt could coach the team, but he couldn't play. But Wilt was rather indifferent towards coaching, as he left most of his duties to his assistant Stan Albeck. Wilt even skipped the game to sign autographs for his book. In his only season as the coach, the Qs finished 37-47 and were eliminated by the Utah Stars in the semifinals. Displeased with the extremely low attendance, Wilt retired from coaching and pro basketball as a whole. After his retirement, he went into several business ventures as he was a key player in the promotion of volleyball. He also started a track and field club in Southern California. He signed 60 athletes, as 3 of them went on to win Olympic gold. Wilt also ventured into acting, with his biggest role being in the 1984 film Conan the Destroyer. Wilt was still in peak fitness after his playing days, as some NBA teams were still offering him a chance to play. Even in 1986, at 50 years old, the New Jersey Nets offered him a chance to play, but he declined. Wilt's health would deteriorate in the early 90s, mostly due to his irregular heartbeat. By 1999, he had lost 50 pounds. On October 12th, Wilt passed away from congestive heart failure at 63 years old. There's really no word to explain the dominance of Wilt Chamberlain. Maybe it's the fact that he owned 72 NBA records, averaged 50 points in the season, or scored 100 points in a single game. But Wilt was blessed with elite physical traits, and he was simply unstoppable. He was putting up legendary stats from the jump, but it took a long time for him to achieve postseason success, as Bill Russell always seemed to have his number. Wilt's reputation as someone who only cared about personal achievements was tested once he got to Philly, but he had a change of heart and led one of the greatest teams in NBA history to a championship, beating his bitter rival in the process. Wilt's body wouldn't allow him to do the superhuman things he used to do when he got to the Lakers, so he adjusted his game to work alongside 2 legends, as he helped Jerry West and Elgin Baylor finally get their first ring. In more recent times, some people try to minimize how great he was, as his era was somehow filled with plumbers. But what they don't realize is that Wilt would dominate in any era. Man, thank you guys for watching. This might have been the most research I've ever done for a video. Like, really. Like, the numbers he's putting up, they're not even video game numbers, because you can't even get these stats in 2K. Like, this is unbelievable. 50 points a game? Like, what? It's just unbelievable watching him play. Like none of these guys stand a chance against him. And I'm sick of this argument. Oh, he played against plumbers. Oh, look at the competition he's playing. Put Wilt in 2025, he would still be an all-star. Because you gotta think about it. He can rim run, he can catch lobs, he can block shots, he can hit that turnaround jumper. People kind of disrespect Wilt, I don't know why. I feel like it was almost like a damned if you do, damned if you don't with him. Because if he won everything, they would have been like, well, of course, look how big he is. He's bigger than everybody. Of course he's gonna win everything. But then if he doesn't win, now it's, oh, he's a loser. Oh, he only cares about stats. He only cares about his own stats. He cares about his own numbers. He's not a team guy. But then you saw when he got to Philly, he's definitely a team guy. Then when he got to LA, he was even more of a team guy in LA. So I feel like he definitely dispelled some of those rumors. Of course, he wasn't a perfect person. You know, he wasn't the most likable guy. Of course, the 20,000 women, I didn't even want to talk about that, but oh man, that's really the story of Wilt, man. Like, one of the best players to ever play the game. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate y'all. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Turn my post notifications on if you haven't already. Thank you. Please be safe. I'm out. Peace.